So recently I learned that Shakira might be facing up to 8 years in prison because of tax evasion. What? Her hips do lie after all? What? Who doesn't love some good tax evasion drama? Am I right, ladies? Ladies! Woo! Turbo tax. And it really got me asking myself, how many more of our favorite celebrities have a tax evasion story arc? So I did some Googling, and let me tell you, there's more than you'd think. So we gather here today to go through some celebrities' juiciest tax evasions and rank them. Let's start off with Shakira because she's topical, she's new, we don't know what really happened yet, but she apparently owes $15 million in taxes to Spain. They offered her a plea deal. She said, I don't want that. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. I pay my taxes. I didn't even really live in Spain, kind of. So here's the thing. Shakira said that she was living in the Bahamas in a certain period of time when Spain apparently said that she was living, you guessed it, in Spain. The big question is, how long was Shakira really in Spain? Was she in Spain long enough to have to pay the taxes? But Shakira's lawyer said that she didn't do it, so, I mean, I don't know who to believe, quite frankly. I don't know. I mean, if the Spanish government thinks that she spent enough time in Spain to owe them $15 million, like, that's a serious accusation. That must have been a lot of time that she was in Spain. If she's owing them that much money, I mean, how much is she raking in nowadays? If she only spent like a week in Spain, this is a huge miscommunication, but it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. It seems like this is the only crime Shakira potentially allegedly has under her belt. Usually she's a pretty good noodle, so this is definitely some juicy gossip. It's a little out of her character, I guess. I mean, but what do I know? I'm not Shakira. I would give this one a healthy B tier. Next one, Lil Wang.
Kirby!
So Lil Wayne had not one, not two, 3 separate tax liens against him. I don't know what that word means. I Googled it. I get it. I don't know how to say it. It's basically like the IRS was trying to take his property or something because he didn't pay his taxes. 3 separate times. So his first one was for a little over $1 million in December of 2010 for the years 2004, 2005, and 2007. Then again in 2011, they were like, actually, you owe us $5.6 million more dollars for 2008 and 2009. So I guess he didn't really learn his lesson the first 2 times, because then the third time they hit him with $7.72 million. And then by the time 2019 came, he settled his tax debt. But holy shit. What I don't understand the most about this is the fact that this happened 3 separate times and he owed more and more money each year, and he didn't get in like super serious trouble. Like the IRS was kind of just like, hey, if you don't pay us this money, we're gonna take your house. We might come and take it. Woo! Like, this is just so eye-opening for me. I was terrified my freshman year of college because I accidentally committed tax fraud on TurboTax.com because I marked myself as an independent because I would consider myself an independent woman, but I guess not in the eyes of the government because my mom claimed me as a dependent freshman year of college. So I owed the government $1,000. I thought they were so mad. I thought they were coming for me. I thought that my mom was in jeopardy because of my stupidity. But it turns out that I can just f*** off and just not pay my goddamn taxes if I get this rich, and the IRS is gonna be like, fine. How can you get away with this? Like, do you ever think that the IRS showed up to his home? Do you ever think they called him? Or do you think this was all just like a little email chain? Eventually he settled the debt. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's had any more IRS run-ins since this, but that's just so wild. You know, I'll give this one an A tier just simply because he just doesn't give a f***. But it turns out that not everyone is as lucky as Lil Wayne, because Mike, the situation from the Jersey Shore, definitely did a little tax stuff. Mike, the situation was not so lucky in the end of his arc. Michael actually had to go to prison. He went to prison for 8 months, federal prison, for filing fraudulent tax returns with his brother and not paying taxes on almost $9 million between 2010 and 2012. Yeah, also, Mike, the situation was supposed to serve 2 years of supervised release, 500 hours of community service, and a $10,000 fine. He owed $9 million. And you're just gonna give him a $10,000 fine? First of all, does he even have to pay the $9 million back, or is it the $10,000? I would hope he has to pay the $9 million. He didn't pay his taxes for 2 years making all this freaking money. So basically what happened is Mike, the situation, and his brother, the, I don't know, happening, bound together to make a fake business, a business that simply just didn't exist, to exploit Mike's, the situation's, celebrity status. I tried finding out what exactly they did and what that even means, like what they claimed the business was, but I couldn't really find too much. It does seem that he filed the false returns and claimed it was like promotional activity because he's just such the super serious celebrity, right? So I guess he made it seem like he did more brand deals or something than he actually did. I don't know. I really couldn't find that much on what they claimed this business was. But he would make these like cash deposits into bank accounts in amounts that are less than $10,000 each so that these deposits would not come to the attention of the IRS. Someone caught on and blew the whistle, and Mike didn't make it out so lucky. He actually, right before he went to prison, got married. Like, he proposed to this girl, I guess, before, you know, this whole thing happened. But when the fuzz came after him and was like, listen, you're gonna have to go to jail on this day at this time. Guess he was just like, screw it, we gotta get married right now. So he got married right before going to prison. Guess he spent the honeymoon behind bars. And I read about some pretty interesting details about what his prison life was like. There are actually a decent amount of big names in this prison amongst Mike, the situation, that he hung out with. He made some friends, I guess, behind bars with the guy who did the Fire Festival, Billy McFarland, former Donald Trump attorney, Michael Cohen. Apparently this is one of the 10 cushiest prisons in America. I guess that's where they send all the famous people. I just think it's really interesting that Mike the situation ended up going to jail. It seems like he took his tax evasion a step farther. Like, he tried to get a little creative with it, starting the fake business, but it ended up biting him in the ass later on. He did kind of lie. I'm gonna have to give this one like I'll give it an A for effort, I guess, right? Like, he tried his hardest and he definitely didn't succeed. Actually, no, I'm gonna give this one an E. E for effort. Yeah, Okay, on to the next one. You're not going to believe this one. Prince has his fair share of tax baggage. I didn't know. So, once upon a time, the IRS tried to summon Prince on behalf of French people to determine if he owes money to France for the performances he did in France. But then Prince simply just didn't show up. Apparently, Prince also owed over $1 million in property tax to Minnesota. It was actually almost auctioned off, the property was, but then he paid his taxes just in time. And then in 2017, his estate also had to pay $100 million in estate tax because of poor planning or something like that. Like $100 million, you didn't just pay the taxes for the property? Like, it seems like no one knows how to pay their taxes. It seemed like Prince never really went to jail or anything, which is good. I like his energy, you know, like the IRS literally rubbed their meaty palms together, tried to summon him with their powers, and he was literally just like, actually, no. I guess we are just gonna have to give him a C tier. Is that like fine? It's not that juicy. All right, on to the next one. So it turns out R. Kelly is a pretty horrible person for more reasons than one. He allegedly owed $20 million in taxes, not just $5 million. This is from 2012. He ended up owing $20 million eventually, which he has allegedly been unable to pay because he had to pay child support and the bond of his 2 recent jail stays. So it's funny that he uses child support as an excuse for not paying his taxes because he fucking didn't pay that either, and he got arrested for it. But the craziest part about this story is that he dropped a SoundCloud song dedicated to the situation, and it's 19 minutes long. Dude, you're like a literal predator, and you're using this song to be like, I admit it, guys. What? Let's get to the tax evasion. Come on. Does he ever actually admit anything in this song? This is 19 minutes.
They took my gift and they blind me. Where the fuck is my money? Now here come this.
What do you mean you're asking where your money is? Dude, the IRS is asking the same question. You don't know? You don't even know? Okay, that's enough of that. What a disgusting human being. Literally just like makes a 20-minute song gaslighting his victims and admitting that, oh, I didn't go to church and I skipped school. Easy F tier. Easiest decision I've ever made in my life. Alright, on to the next one. Ozzy Osbourne is checking out of Hotel California. Why? Taxes. So Ozzy Osbourne owed in the millions in taxes, and the IRS got like really mad at him and his wife in 2011 for unpaid taxes in 2007 and 2008. Eventually, they paid it off, so at least they paid it back. They did their due diligence. I just think it's so interesting, like with all of these cases in general, I can't help but think about the fact that the IRS takes so long to notice these things. Like, how do they come about, you know? Like with Lil Wayne doing this 3 times, you'd think they keep an extra eye on him and notice it the year it happens that he didn't pay his taxes. And like with this, it's like they noticed in 2011 about the taxes that they didn't pay in 2007 and 2008. That's years later. How do they realize these things? Like, is it just a shower thought? So, I mean, they paid it back. I'll put them up with Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne did pay his back too. So, at least they paid them back, right? Like, come on. On to the next one. Oh, Miss Martha. Martha has a pretty funny tax arc. So, once upon a time, Martha was ordered to pay $220,000 in back taxes on a New York state property in addition to fines. What's a back tax? You're asking the wrong person, okay? I don't know, but like I assume she just didn't pay taxes on her New York property. And her defense for this was that she didn't spend a lot of time at the property, so like she didn't think she had to pay taxes on it. Why would she have to pay taxes on it if she wasn't there, kind of? Something I also didn't know about Martha, this isn't tax related, but she had a huge insider stock trading scandal, and I think she even had to go to prison. So basically, a while ago, Martha sold $230,000 worth of stock for this company called I'm Clone a day before the stocks just plummeted, like hard sank. I'm Clone is a medicine company, and the stocks plummeted because one of their medicines didn't get FDA approval when everyone like thought it was going to. It just didn't. And then they announced that the day after Martha Stewart pulled the money out. So she was found guilty for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and 2 counts of making false statements to the federal investigators. And Martha and her broker were each sentenced to 5 months in prison. Count 5. 5 months of home confinement and 2 years of probation for lying about a stock sale, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. And then on top of that, Martha had to pay a $30,000 fine. Martha wears many hats. She's a jack of all trades. Insider trading, tax evasion, and being in a Young Gravy song. So,
Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart.
And I guess she probably cooks a little too, right? I'm gonna give this S tier because I just think it's so funny that she didn't pay her property tax and she thought, oh, well, like I just wasn't there. S tier. On to our last but not least person of the eve, Mr. Cage. Oh, yes. Mr. Nick Cage had a period of time where he only starred in action movies that never went in theaters and went straight to on demand. And people were like confused by this. Like they were just like, what's your problem? Like, and these roles kept piling up in the dozens. Like he was only featuring in on demand things that just didn't go to the theaters. And apparently this is because he blew his entire $200 million fortune. And then on top of that, owed the IRS over $6 million in unpaid taxes. How do you go through that much money? And so then he was taking every acting role he could to possibly just pay off this debt. And he really didn't want to file for bankruptcy. Eventually, he did end up paying off everything, but, like, what? You're probably wondering, how did Nicolas Cage spend $200 million and still end up in debt? How did he blow through all that money so quickly? He could have been set for a life. Let me tell you about some of the things that he purchased. Definitely not business expenses. Definitely can't write these off, according to the IRS, because he did buy a $412,000 stolen dinosaur skull. And apparently Leonardo DiCaprio was bidding for the same skull and Nicolas Cage outbid him. at this dinosaur auction. I don't know, like that's a niche I haven't really heard too much about. But then Nicolas Cage was later informed that the skull had been stolen from the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, and the Department of Homeland Security contacted Nicolas Cage about the skull's origins in 2014. So then he had to agree to give the skull back. He didn't even get to keep the skull that he paid almost $500,000 for. He just wasted all that money on a stupid skull he didn't even get to keep. I mean, okay, so apparently this like helped his acting. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of hard to guess that like he needed these for the craft, but he spent $380,000 in one sitting on 2 poisonous cobras and an octopus. Yeah, like apparently he just needed these to like help his craft or whatever. He also bought this, a $4.7 million mansion in New Orleans that is considered one of the most haunted mansions in the entire world. This home actually belonged to a serial unaliver named Madame Delphine LaLaurie, and her story was actually told in the 3rd season of American Horror Story. Fun fact. He didn't even get to keep this either, though. He blew all this money on a haunted-ass mansion, didn't even get to keep it, went away with the dinosaur skull, except to someone else. The mansion was seized along with his other expensive properties during a foreclosure in 2009 when he owed $18 million to the IRS in unpaid taxes. What? Come on, dude. He also bought 2 castles in Europe. And on top of that, this doesn't even account for the fact that he bought so much other expensive property and owned a few private islands. I just want to know why. Did he think that he was going to make that much money all the time? Like, relax. Apparently, he went kind of like downhill in general, like in life. I had no idea. He got kicked out of this like upscale Las Vegas restaurant after a drunken fight with the establishment staff, which I guess must be like what's going on here. He's barefoot. So yeah, I mean, it seems like Nicolas Cage really didn't have his like priorities straight and didn't realize that he's gonna have to pay taxes on like the money he makes. I would give this one a B tier just for the entertainment value of this story. Like, the fact that he bought all this random stuff is just so stupid. I think that, you know, society would benefit a lot from all of these celebrities' unpaid tax money. I think that we could put our tax dollars to better use than a private island for Nick Cage, a few castles, you know. Like, I think that maybe we could put this money towards, like, better education in America, like, I don't know, maybe helping like the homeless or something a little bit more productive than a stolen dinosaur skull. Maybe the real IRS is the friends we made along the way. I mean, look at the situation. Tax evasion, little left field. I don't know that much about taxes. I don't know that much about evasion except for the one time I accidentally committed tax fraud. But I paid it back, okay? I'm not a scumbag. So that's all I got, really. It's interesting stuff, I guess. These aren't the only people that just like don't pay their taxes. Rich people quite frequently don't pay their taxes and get away with it because what are they gonna do? Fine them? Like $10,000? You think Martha Stewart really hurt from that $30,000 fine? No. It doesn't matter. Because the US government doesn't actually punish these rich people. They can do whatever they want and get away with it. It's kind of crazy and it's really sad. I hope that we can all laugh together and maybe cry about the cruel, fucked up world that we all share. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a like. And if you really like this video, it would mean a lot if you subscribed to the channel. It really helps a lot. We upload every week and it's really fun stuff and awesome. And I love and cherish each and every one of you.